I was saying that I love the sun, and it was just really, really amazing. Like, it was so hot that sometimes it was overwhelming, but I would pick that over New York City any day, because in New York we didn't have a lot of sun, so it was you know, well, I wouldn't say we didn't have a lot of sun. It was just not as hot as it is in Texas. So I am grateful for the weather. Another thing is the space. Oh my god, like the rent that I'm paying here for my space is, like, I mean apartment, is it's just so much less than what I would get if I was using the same money to get somewhere in New York. You know what I'm saying? Like, the space is so big here. Like, your room is big, your living room is big. You just have so much space to move around. Like, you want it's not clutter. Like, you're not fixed in a box, which sometimes is not good for your mental space. Like, you really need space to move around. Like, if you feel like you're too boxed in, that could affect you, believe it or not. So it's just so much space to move around, even outside. Like, if I wanted to work out, I don't have to go to a gym because there's no space to run. I can just walk out of work out in my neighborhood, just walk around. So I really, really, really love that. Things are really cheap here. Not really cheap, let me not exaggerate, but things are cheaper, more affordable, as far as apartments, food, even cars. Like, there's better job opportunities here. You know, with the job market, depending on what you do, I feel like it's more, you could probably find a better job here. You most likely to find a job here than if I was in New York, comparing both cities. So I love that. But the only thing I would say is that the market is not the same. Like, if I was in New York, obviously the living standard is higher, so I would get much pay. But it doesn't make any sense, because you will have to end up using that pay to pay rent, insurance, light, you know, food, which is way higher. So if you're making less here, it's better, because everything is cheaper here. If you're making the same here as in New York City, even better, because you get things less cheaper here, so you get to save more, you know? So, what is another thing? Another thing is the hospitality. Everyone is so nice here. They're not so angry. Like, if you're too nice in New York, that's a problem. You're very suspicious, right? But here, everyone is so nice, so sweet, so welcoming. Like the Southern hospitality, you can feel it, you know? So it's another thing I like. It's positive, you know? What else? I haven't really explored it much. I'm sure I'll have more to say. What else? What else? There's things to do here. You know, one of the things that my friends were like, oh, hey, going to Texas, there's nothing to do there. There's a lot to do here. It's just not party-ish like New York, you know? Like, New York, there's a lot to do. The city doesn't sleep, right? But in Texas, it's just a different type of vibe. Like, let's say, like, there's a park in my neighborhood that plays live music at night, right? In New York, that will probably most likely not happen, just due to the weather, due to the fact that it's a busy city. Like, it's just, how do I put this? I feel like it's your crowd. So if you're a party girl, obviously New York is the best place to be. The city doesn't sleep. There's always food around, like, you know what I'm saying? But if you're more like settled in and not that type of lifestyle, Dallas will be better for you, just because they have clubs and parties here too, but it's not, the city is not too focused on that. It's more about, here it's more about just chill, like lounges, parks, activities to do, things of that sort, you know? Another thing is food. right? So I am settling in my apartment, and obviously most of my stuff are not here yet, so I can't cook like I can. And sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night hungry because I forgot to eat, I'm running around too much or whatever reason. And in New York, one of the pros that I had was I can just pick up Uber Eats at 4 a.m. and order me some food. Here, most of the things close early. Ooh, excuse me. Most of the things close at 10 p.m., 11 p.m. And you can't just wake up at 3 a.m. and say, oh, let me order me some Chipotle or something. So I have to get used to that because it's, you know, it's like I have to do things on time. In New York City, we don't work with time. Like you could wake up at 4 a.m. and order you some crab legs from somewhere, you know? So I have to do things earlier over here, and which I'm getting accustomed to. Another thing that blew my mind was the fact that Texas is so big, right? If you don't have a car, girl, you are going to have a little bit of a problem. Just because, okay, so the grocery store from my house is 4 minutes driving and 27 minutes walking. That made absolutely no sense to me. Why is it so different? You know, like in New York, if it's 4 minute walking, that means it will be, I mean, if it's 4 minutes driving, that means most likely it will be 10 minutes walking. But here, everything is so big and far apart that you really can't walk to where you can drive to at a short distance, if that makes sense. So I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna wing it for the first month. I don't want to get a car yet until I get a job. And so I'm just gonna Uber. I need a car like now because I can't walk. It's so far. Like you're gonna be on the highway walking like a lost puppy. It's just you need a car over here. So that was a little bit of I wouldn't say a shock, but I figured out I can't do it the way I had planned to. So if you're a city girl moving from the East Coast, well, I would say New York City, because other states you need a car. That's okay. No, it's okay. Yeah, so you would definitely need a car here. Yeah.